just your first thoughts?
I mean, just I'm heartbroken for a group of young men that'll never get the opportunity to play football again. A group, we had 15 young men that we recognized that had eligibility left, and exhausted that today. And so I always hold a special place in my heart for seniors. I've been a senior. I know what the finality of playing your last football game is, and it's really hard to describe. And so, my heart hurts for those young men right now, because I just know the amount of time and commitment and the work that they put into this to position themselves to win a football game, and really came down to about 3 plays, that was the difference in the outcome.
No, one thing, I mean, your team, they made some great plays. I mean, you did some things defensively that a lot of times wins ball games.
Yeah, I know. The fourth down, the fourth and goal from the 12, and to give up, I mean, you can handle somebody making a spectacular catch, but to let the quarterback just run the ball in from the fourth and goal from the 12, you don't see that very often, and then make it to a point conversion and make it a field goal. So, we just, without just going back and truly evaluating the game. Again, our kids, they've fought all year long. I mean, it seemed like every single game, with the exception of last week, was the same game. It's just going to come down to, some plays in the second half that are going to determine the outcome of the game. But proud of my coaching staff. I mean, they've done an unbelievable job this season with these young men and getting them to buy in, and just a whole new. Everything was different for these young men, and I can't say enough for the players and what they've done for us, and how they've represented this university this year. It's been very impressive.
Not only that, but I mean, what a first year for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, I've said this since the day I've taken the job. It's a player's game, and I really believe that. My responsibility is to teach and demand, and people's best and accountability and things like that. But yet it's the players. The players were the ones making plays all season long and bought into the coaching and again, it is. I mean, our young men. That's what I just told them. Hey, you don't have to hang your head. You can walk out of here a winner. And you've accomplished some things, and you've positioned ourselves now to go out and recruit and not just sell hope anymore. We can say, hey, look, man, we've got things moving in the right direction here at ACU, and man, if you want to be a part of it, we're going to play for championships. We are, and I mean, we just did today, and we're going to continue to do that, and look forward to a bright future.
Well, you talk about selling hope, and it's easy to forget that for a long time here, in this 1A era, there really hasn't been much of that. So just the fact that you were playing for this today is really a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of key players that they have a lot of experience in those type of situations, and they made plays, down the stretch, and especially in the second half, and you could tell they had been there before, and our young men obviously haven't, but we did. I mean, it's a good year. Man, we were hoping to make it a great year, but we're off to a really good start, and look forward to hitting the road recruiting now and adding some pieces to our program and continue to move it forward.
Catalan and Cooper, speaking of the bright side of things today, talk about their performances.
Yeah, I mean, I thought both those young men, Kobe's done it all year long. He's been so consistent, and I don't know if I've ever been more proud of a young man. I mean, that, because there was a little bit of, at one point, when I first got here, he was in the portal and wasn't sure if he was going to stay or leave or what, and I told him, I said, hey, if you stay, it'll be the best decision you've made in your life, and you won't regret it, so I'm obviously happy for him, and in the season that he had, I mean, he was by far the most consistent performer in this league, this year, and very proud of him. And then Cooper, I mean, he's been another steady performer for us all season long. So I'm, both those young men had just it was a good way to end their season, but from a individual performance, but at the end of the day, man, I'm proud of all of our young men, and just not just the type of record that they have, and they're not going to be defined by just having a winning record. These guys, just the type men that they're going to become. You know, I talk to them all the time about, I want to see the 35-year-old version of yourself, and I want you to think about what that's going to look like and cast a vision for your life.
What is the sense of the overall emotion in that locker room right now?
Well, there's a lot of young men that are crying and, you know, hurt. You know, anytime that you make that kind of investment and commitment, and then the bonds, people don't understand the bonds that you form are going to last a lifetime. And I mean, and I've really you know, talked to these young men about that. I talked about the relationships that I have with the men that I played with, and how fast it's going to go by, and how fast, you know, you are going to be 35 years old coming back and addressing these young men, these future ACU football teams, and you know, so it's important for them to be able to have a good experience, and I think they did this season, and obviously excited about where we're headed.
Coach, I've listened to you a lot. This team, you always talk about routine, and that this team has really embodied your vision and mission of routine. How important, and why is that so important to your team?
Well, I think, you know, one, I try to get young men to simplify their lives. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, you know, just in, I think it just helps, you know, the structure and routine. Maybe it's just because of the way I'm wired, yeah, but you're exactly right. They did buy into that, and just how important it is, not just the routine, but it's what we do with that routine. It's about, hey, every single day, everything matters. Everything matters. How you conduct and yourself in study hall, training table, the bean, whatever. You know, everything matters. And so they bought into that, and so then I try to simplify their lives, you know, from an academic standpoint, and the amount of time and meetings and extra film study, and you know, lifting weights, and everything that a student athlete in this generation has to do to be successful. So I think that routine is important to be able to kind of give them a little bit of structure and balance, and it simplifies their life. And it's probably just, I mean, you know, people think I'm organized. I'm just, that's just the way I have to be, so I know where my wallet is. I got to put my wallet in this pocket, or this got to be here all the time. But so I just try to teach young men that routine matters, but it's about what you do with the routine that counts. Don't play for a certain outcome. Do everything that it takes, you know, daily, okay, to be able to experience the outcome that we desire.
You really had a good season this year for your first season, and it seems from the outside that you've laid a very solid foundation moving forward. Your thoughts on the state of the program right now?
Yeah, I think it's in great shape. I mean, we got some really good football players coming back on both sides of the ball next year, and I mean, you look at it. I mean, we're gonna, you know, lose a handful of guys on offense and a handful of guys on defense, and we're already, you know, recruiting and moving toward filling those spots, and trying to always continue to upgrade our talent and people that are going to fit within our program, and you know, who want to buy into all these things that you know, from character and discipline, and you know, just mental toughness, and you know, I think we're in great shape.